Hello, Vapors. Today I'm going to talk about the DSmart. This is a DSmart. We're going to take a look at this. I just got this. This was a special edition won by a friend in a lucky draw in Kuantan. And he gave it to me, lent it to me for a bit, just to make a review out of it. I was very impressed with this thing. I vaped it earlier. I measured the voltage drop earlier. Impressive, but we'll go over the details of it. Firstly, aesthetics and looks. All right, it's brass. Let me focus the camera here. It's brass and it's got a polish finish. This is, by the way, an 18500 18490 mod. But in comparison with an 18650 mod, it stands just about the same height. It's brass with some stainless steel ring that you see here. It's got laser etching. Let me try to bring that closer. Laser etching. Winner Vape Meet Kuantan Vapors, I think. Yep. It's got some rings, mirror polish of the brass, and it's heavy because it is almost 100% brass, except for the firing pin. It's got copper pins, and in here as well there's copper pins, and you're not gonna believe this. Really heavy, but I'll do a quick look, quick measurement, and let you see what it measures like. Same atty that I've been using on the Sentinel clone review. Let me get my rig. You are not gonna believe this. This is as is. I haven't done anything to it. All right. Focus. Okay. So, unload it. Unloaded, we are at 4.13 now. I'll change to a fresh battery after this, but 4.13, take a look at this. 4.00, that's a 0.13 drop. That's a 0.13 volt drop, and that is very impressive. I haven't done anything to this. This mod is about a week old, so I don't know if I'm even going to Noalox this, but I will see if there's any difference. And I will discuss on the design later and what I think is causing the conductivity of the mod to be so superb. Okay, so I took it apart, but before I go further, I would like to clarify that this mod apparently it is not the final product. I think it's if I got the info right, it's actually a final prototype. But nevertheless, let's take a look at the components. Very thick switch base. This is the switch main body. Very thick. It's got serial number on it. 546. I don't think so. If there's 500 of these mods around, I should have seen them a lot more in Facebook. That's a really thick switch body. You got a locking ring. You would never realize that you would actually have a locking ring here. It's reverse threaded. Look at how flush that thing is. Amazing machining. Good quality machining indeed. So this firing pin is made of aluminium because it's very light. It's got a spring. Spring is not that hard, not that soft, just nice. Copper firing pin. And I just tore this apart after I've shown you some measurement just now. Look at how tarnished that thing is. It's not even in the best of shape. Look at the tarnishing on that. I'll show you a difference if I polish this. What would it look like? Yeah. Take a piece of my magic cloth here. And now look at that. Look at how shiny it has become. Yep. But final prototype, maybe that's why it's kind of like that. The nothing on this thing is adjustable, because if you were to adjust this, some people think that if you adjust the position of this thing, you can adjust the firing, what do you call that, the firing position or the throw of the switch, but it doesn't work that way, because this part is what's holding the pin from coming out of the switch body. The tube is solid brass. Look at how thick that is. That's thick. This is definitely not made from brass tube. This is a solid tube that was bored into. Definitely that. I can tell that, at least. Good quality brass. Maybe it's a 360 brass. I really don't know anything about it. I have no info on it. It's just that I do happen to have the mod. This is the top cap. It's a bit thick. Look at that. It's a bit thick. Compare that to this. Look at how thick this one is. I don't know what the reason is for coming up with the top cap as thick as this. Maybe it's durability, maybe it's the integrity of the cap, but this comes out easy, which is something that I really like. It's got a piece of plastic as the insulator. It's not in the best shape it is. You can see it's pretty rough, but maybe due to the final prototype nature of this. Again, I will need to repolish this, make it bright and shiny, and that's good. If you guys send me any mod to be reviewed, the ones that I haven't reviewed, I will actually prep them up to my spec. So that might be an encouragement for you guys to do so. All right, this fits right in there, and that's the part by part analysis on this. And this mod, I have no clue to how it fires so good and the drop is so small. There's a little rubber O-ring that sits on the firing pin, the extension, the sleeve of the firing pin, and it goes right in there. Let me close this, get a bit easier for me to screw it on. And the firing pin is aluminum. I really don't know what is causing this thing to perform so well, or at least I have no idea so far. And if you take a look at the throw of the switch, it's actually protruding past the insulator. So when this pin connects to the battery, it's this part of the mod is not really in touch with the body of the mod. So, but really I have no idea why it performs so well. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I like the component, very flush. Look at how flush that thing is. You wouldn't even notice it was there, really. Yep. Unless you take a really close look at it, like on this camera. But the thread feels good. They are very smooth, very well machined. Look at the sound it makes. It's very smooth, exceptional. Nothing, not even a single vibration here. It's really smooth. Good piece of machining, I must say. All right, the next thing I'm gonna Noalox this up. and try to remeasure and see if it performs even better. Yep, let's just do that. Okay, I'm done with the Noalox job. Put Noalox here and there, in the switch, in the sleeve, even in the connector down here. So we are gonna redo our test and see if it actually improve even better. Move this down here. All right, this is another fresh battery. Always seem to do that. Why does it do that? Maybe because it's unfired. Let me fire this thing first. I can't get it fired. Okay, there we go. 4.21. Not test. 4.20. Okay, 4.20. All right, fire this up. Look at that. Let's try it again. 4.09. Look at that. Isn't that powerful? Powerful. 0.12 or 0.11 drop that we actually measured on this thing. I gotta vape this thing. I gotta know what 4.12 feels like. 0.12 drop feels like. Wow. And you can see that it drops further and further and further. Might just be the nature of the battery. I got AW IMR 18500 in here. I gotta try this again. What is it unloaded now? 4.16. Wow, that's a quick drop. That is a really quick drop. Still 0.11 volt drop. Isn't that marvelous? That is good. That is the best performing mod I've ever tested. That is a good mod. This is a good mod. Let's see it again, and then we'll go over to the conclusion part. I'll address my concerns and what I like in here. The DEES by somebody in Junker, if I'm not mistaken. The price is about 450 to 650 depending on what material or what grade of material, if I'm not mistaken. It's available on Facebook. I'm not really sure where it is available, but it is available on Facebook. So what do I think is causing this mod to perform really well? One thing for sure is that, as I've shown you before, just look at how thick the tube is on this mod. See, what I think is happening is that the thickness of the tube and then the good machining where it sits flush, it supplements the thread. The thread is where I usually think that the current is flowing by, and now it can also flow through the joint through where the part join over here because it's so flush. I even applied Noalox over there too. It's the same over here at the switch. Look at that. Look at how thick that thing is compared to the other mods that you've seen. And this is local made. This guy have really thought about it. Look at how flush it sits, and that is where I think the additional conductivity is coming from. And the copper pins might have helped, but bear in mind this thing is aluminium. This part right here is aluminium. It potentially also carries the electricity. The other thing that I was thinking that might be contributing to why it performs so well, this I gotta zoom all the way. Look at how tight that pin is sitting. Look at how tight that is. Look at the clearance down there. Look at how tight it is actually. So that might be the reason why the conducting surface is so large that it just offers no resistance to the electricity flowing in the body of the mod. And that is probably why it performs so well. And bear in mind that this is only the final prototype. I really would like, well, it is heavy, it's not really my preference, but this is a really well-made mod. I do not see anything to improve except for probably the thickness of the cap over here, the thickness of the switch over here, but it fits right in your hand. It's heavy. It's got the locking ring figured out. The machining quality, I gotta repeat myself, the machining quality is good, because just look at how flush this thing is. Just feel, I can just feel how smooth the threads are. The threads are really smooth. I couldn't feel any nicks in the thread. It's even smoother than my Dawn. That's how to put it in a perspective. So 450 to 650 ringgit range, what my final thoughts are. I would actually recommend this to anyone. It design wise, it's nothing much. There's nothing special about the design. The outer looks of it. The interesting design is on the switch, and that's just about it. It's a very simple mod. I wish it could be sold cheaper because it's so simple machining. It's just the design of the parts were done right, and that's why it performs so well, apart from the fact that it's actually all brass. 0.11 volt drop. That battery, the battery I'm using is a battery I bought just to test and review mods, because I don't have any 18500 18490 batteries. I would actually buy one if I don't have a mod, but I already have two Dons, so that is probably the only reason I wouldn't get one. But if for you are looking for a mod with the performance and don't really mind the laser etching might be gone after a lot of polishing, yeah, but that's just about it on the looks of it, on the outside. But on the inside, this thing is built solid, man. This is really nice. Look at even that, how tight the machining is on this. Look at that, the flush edge. Wow. Double connectors here, and look at this. I would even get this mod myself, man, but I already have two Dons, and one DSmart. So that's probably the only reason I wouldn't get it. Okay, I hope I've given you a good overview of the mod. The DSmart, I don't know what the actual name is, but this is the DEES, DEES mod. Cheers and vape on. Sorry, I got one final thought on this, and it is that remember the comparison of the silver pins and the brass pins of the clone Sentinel, where I measured a 0.02 difference between the silver pins and the brass pins. Now this is also measuring 0.02 difference. Remember that before I Noalox this thing as is, it was performing at about 0.13 voltage drop with the 1 ohm addy, and then when I Noaloxed it, I got a 0.11 voltage drop with after the Noalox job. But 0.02 volt drop is very minimal. I can see that it was probably the Noalox job that was helping it to achieve that kind of measurement. However, for me, if you were to ask me below 0.2 voltage drop, whatever mod that you are using, whatever mod that you are testing, below 0.2 voltage drop, I start to think that it is actually the limitation of the battery itself. It's not the mod. It's probably the battery, because a battery is just like an engine. A new one will perform much better than the same one but older. Different kind of engines output different power, and it's just like that. That's the actual nature of batteries. So below 0.2, I think the battery starts to come in play, but you can see the Noalox job did very little to help anyway, because it's already concerning the limitation of the battery. It's not really the mod that's causing the 0.11 voltage drop. It's the battery being put under load, and that's about what the battery could deliver. The difference in power. Let me just measure this thing. Do a quick calculation. 4.09 was that 0.11 difference. 4.0, so 4.11, so theoretically I'll take that 4.09 times 4.09, because I got a 1 ohm addy. That was 4.09 volts with a 4.09 amp current. I'm firing at about 16.73, so that's about 16.7 watts. 16.7 watts of power. Imagine that. If I have a mod with a 0.2 drop, so that's 16 watts. It's only 0.7 watts of a difference compared to an already good mod like the Sentinel measuring 0.2 compared to this one measuring 0.11. Of course, you can feel it. You can definitely feel it. That 0.7 watts improvement, you can definitely feel it. But that is what I think. It's not really the Noalox job that I mean the design, the factor of why this mod performed really well is, of course, the design of it, the machining quality of it. But 0.11, I just want to explain that the 0.11 and the 0.13 drop that we measured earlier is not really something that is attributed to the condition of the mod. The mod as is already achieving 0.13. That is something I would only dream of to achieve, and I've already vaped that. In case you haven't vaped it, go get it. Bye bye.